I didn't have a father figure to look up to, and I think the main problem in society overall is the lack of strong men, the lack of fathers. Because to know the light, you have to know the dark to appreciate the light.
Everybody else is trying to do the same thing.
For everybody, entrepreneurship isn't this beautiful journey that people think it is. It takes years and years of dedication, of losing money. Losing money to me is a regular thing. I lose money in investments and stuff like that. I take risks. You have to be a risk taker. So only that is possible in crypto. This is the digital gold rush.
Superwoman.
Yes, literally. Alicia Keys' Superwoman is her favorite. Mama, everything's going to be okay, and we good. And everything's going to be away, and I'm going to make you very, very proud.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Kane.
My man.
How's it going?
Amazing, bro. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for coming. I'm really excited to actually have this with you because you are the first person that I would do a podcast with that's doing what you're doing. And you come from a very interesting background and you have a very inspiring story, which I hope is probably going to be beneficial for someone else, your age, younger, whoever it is. So we'll get straight into it.
Yeah.
Actually, I always tell people to do their introduction because maybe they would like to be defined in a specific way.
Yeah, sure. My name's Kane Wave. I come from Toronto, Canada. Nice. I'm 25 years old. I'm an entrepreneur. I used to do music, entertainment. That's my background in marketing and sales. Mm-hmm. And now I have built a global mastermind group connecting and empowering the powerful and leveraging finance to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. I'm a family man. I care about my values and my principles. Nice. And I'm here to just build a network. I just recently moved to Dubai. Nice. And we're going to be building an empire here.
Nice. Looking forward, bro. Yeah, you guys have been doing some great stuff. You and Ali have been watching you guys from the sidelines. I'm very impressed about what you guys do, what you guys post. It's really cool. And what's even more cool is that you are very inclusive, right? So it's not just about you and you making money, because you see a lot of that here in Dubai, right? Yeah. a lot of that selfish hustle. That's what I call it. Yeah. And but people don't realize that no man ever made it alone, right? So that's the thing. But going back to you, you seem to be in a very good place, and I'm very happy for you. But it wasn't always as it wasn't smooth always sailing, right? Tell me a little bit more about like your childhood and how was it growing up in Milton?
Yeah, so raised by a single mother. Nice. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother.
Superwoman.
Yes, literally. Alicia Keys' Superwoman is her favorite song. Nice. So I was raised by a single mom. My dad wasn't there. I wanted to drop out of high school. I didn't have a father figure to look up to. And, I think the main problem in society overall is the lack of strong men, the lack of fathers. I think if fathers were in the household, women would be better and men would be better. Yeah. I was talking to my friend the other day, who's more impacted if the mom's not there or the dad. I think the dad, whether it's a daughter or a son. Because, a dad is a crucial part of a man and a woman's life. So, raised in a single family household, didn't know who to look up to, was trying to find myself. I ended up looking up to the gangsters, listening to Eminem, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, started making music, rapping. I wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to be a celebrity. And wanted to drop out of wanted to drop out of high school. Was a troublemaker, was involved in illicit markets, trying to make money, and just doing what I knew and what I heard and what I thought was cool.
And what the streets taught you, right? Mm-hmm. That's unfortunately when there are no male figures, that's what ends up happening to most of the boys and most of the kids that age. Do you think it's probably harder for a guy not to have his mother around or not to have his father around?
I think father, because
for his boy,
for a boy and for a woman, but we could talk about the boy because the boy, a father teaches you stoicism, a father teaches you discipline, a father teaches you respect. I never learned those things. So when I grew up, I was very disrespectful. I was very, just said whatever I wanted. Very, I had no discipline. Till this day, I'm working on building discipline. Little things as even just food and choosing the right thing and fighting temptations, right? Discipline was never taught to me because I was raised in God bless, a loving household. My mother was very loving. My grandmother was very loving.
So there was an excess of love and
excess,
you know,
but there was no leadership.
right.
You understand? Because a woman can only do so much to raise a man.
Of course.
So later on in life, when you find a woman, the right woman, she's a mirror, and a woman
So true.
will show you who you are and not only
so
the
true.
good. And that's when I realized I had a lot of damage. I had a lot of things that I masked with success and making money because of a lack of a father, right? So I think the father, 99% of the world's issues would be solved with good men and making men great again, making men again. And, so it was, I didn't have a hard life. I would never say I had a hard life. My mother took care of me. I never went hungry. But just the lack of a father figure definitely makes your life a little bit more trickier, but it's also a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, of course. And not just that, but the problem is when it's a single mother, what ends up happening most of the time is that because there's a lack of a father, so it's so hard for her to be the good cop, bad cop, right? Because she has to be a good cop all the time because if she pushes too hard, she's the only one that's there for you, right? So if she doesn't want you to hate her. She doesn't want to push you away. So obviously I sympathize with mothers that are just trying to keep the balance, but it's so hard, as you said. And I think right now there's just a very active movement to literally break down the family unit.
Yes.
And it's all across, like whether it's the things that they feed you on social media or on TV or the government intervention and sex change, etc., and this and that. But also, one thing that I really feel bad about for a lot of men is how they are just worked to their bone. Like they are working 9 to 5 to make ends meet, and even that's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to men, I do believe that life should be hard and life is hard. So I don't sympathize with men in a lot of instances, but I believe that there is, like, I agree with what you said about a war. The reason why we started the Circle Syndicate was bigger than us. It was to win this war, and to win a war, you can't win alone.
Right.
And it's very, very true. And this is one of the reasons I moved to Dubai. I thought I could escape the war, but you can't, because it's a spiritual war. It's a war against our souls. It's a war against our masculinity, our femininity, the divine family, our sovereignty, our health. And I thought that's something you could run from it. And God bless, Dubai is a wonderful place. You could get away from a lot of it, but the spiritual part and the masculinity part, it's everywhere, right? And
because it's on your phone, it's everywhere. So it follows you wherever you go. You can't run away from it. That's the thing. But like you said, we're blessed that we are a lot further from it here than any other place, right? Like, for example, in Canada, where you used to live, or where I used to live, it's just, it's failed in every sense of the word. Like, I don't even know how. And I mean, now I understand why some people there just don't want to have kids, because it's just horrible and it's just difficult. And that's the thing. But anyway, going back to what you were saying, and I really like about what you said, is that this is why you guys realize that you need to make a change, right?
Yeah.
So you and Ali, and this is how you guys started a Circle Syndicate. But what was the moment? When did you realize that, okay, this is what we need to do?
So the founding story of the Circle Syndicate is very, very special. So
I actually don't know it.
Okay, so for 3 years I was doing entrepreneurship. I started an Airbnb company. I was traveling the world. I had built it up to 70 properties.
Nice.
And,
So you're like a super host.
Yeah. I was a super host. I was doing arbitrage and management, hybrid.
Okay.
Something was telling me in my soul to come to Dubai. I had no idea what it was. I knew nobody here. I had no business here, no network. Eventually one day I said, let's do it. So I went. I brought my boys. Within the first month of me arriving here, I had a download. And
you had a what, sorry?
A download.
Okay.
A download. From, from above.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I ever saw God in a society. And I come from the West, so there's no God there. So not only did it really amaze me, I fell in love. And obviously I started hanging out more with Muslims.
Yeah.
Right? And when I see these guys going to pray in the middle of a meeting, sitting at a kind of cafe, I was like, okay, like these are people I want to align myself with. I really like,
Yeah.
this religion. And obviously, Muslims, they try and revert you, and they're talking like, brother, you have to revert. They're trying to get their Muslim points. But eventually, I was just like, I didn't do any research. It felt right. I aligned with the principles of Islam. And I needed to make a change because I was living a very haram life. I was many different women and partying and, all that stuff. And I knew I needed...
We've all been there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. We all have. And, for me, I decided to revert. So, alhamdulillah, I reverted. And within that same week of me reverting, within the first month of me arriving to Dubai, I found my future wife online. The same week, I found my girl online on Instagram.
Yeah. The one that I was actually...
Yes.
There's a section just about her and how much she means to you.
Yes, yeah. So I met her, and then I had the idea to start the Circle Syndicate all right after, in the same week that I reverted.
That is freaking insane.
So now I understand what that voice was and what the calling was.
That is insane, bro. That is the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, because people don't, for people that don't know the Circle Syndicate, but you guys really come a long way from something that just started 3 years ago. And I really, really, really applaud that, because it's not easy to kind of build what you guys built. Yeah,
it's only been a year and a half, actually.
Only? There you go.
I came to Dubai last year.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I met my girl a year and
but the idea was...
So it was brewing, I wanted, like, I always had my own circle.
Right.
And, but, I understood that there was a war going on. I understood that we needed to centralize power in one location and empower the powerful and be able to leverage finance. And, I'm in the business of money, people, and relationships. Right. So what better way to do that, to curate a community where we offer resources to 7- and 9-figure entrepreneurs. We leverage finance to empower each other, and we give back. We build schools, we build water wells, we build houses. And we're going to continue to do that, because I believe that if you could take 10,000 multimillionaires in 5 years, inshallah, that's our goal. 10,000 multimillionaires to donate even 1% of their net worth every single year. Imagine the impact that we could create.
Nice.
Right? So this is and then, our principles and our values, everybody is very aligned. Like, for example, to join the syndicate, you got to show proof of funds, proof of revenue, proof of donation, and your family has to be retired. Or if they're not retired, then you at least tried, or you're doing something for your family. Because some parents don't want to retire. Some parents are rich, right?
Yeah.
But I firmly believe, especially in the West, that people don't do this. It's your duty to take care of your family.
Nice.
So we've kind of created I wouldn't want to say a cult, but a culture.
Yeah.
And people have been very aligned with it. We fight MMA every week.
Nice.
I train every day, and we're just trying to make men again, because we've become so soft. And especially living in Dubai, you become very soft, which is a good and bad thing, because we're so used.
All you need to do is go to the Palm on the weekend, and then you'll see all the softies there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but man, I love what I hear. That's amazing. That's good shit. But we're going to talk a lot about Circle Syndicate in a bit, but I actually wanted to just go back a little bit about and how you even got into business, because you mentioned something in one of your podcasts, and I love what you said, is that you actually got into the business of people first from promotions, right?
Yeah.
Because that really taught you how to talk to people, how to so was that your first hustle?
Yeah, before that I had a hustle, I can't say, but yeah,
it's okay.
It led me there.
Yeah.
And, for me, I'm an outside of the box thinker. So when I was a rapper, I said, how do I get my song played in the biggest clubs? I wasn't born in Toronto. I was born 45 minutes out, Milton.
Yeah.
I wasn't born in Mississauga, but lived in Milton.
Yeah.
So how do I get myself into the industry without forcing my way or being a starving artist, right?
Right.
So I started nightlife, and I started promoting in the clubs, because back then the women, the bottles, that was what was cool,
right?
And you were seen as the guy in the club with 15 girls in your booth and the liquor and outside every night. And we took over all of Toronto. I was even on the billboards in Toronto. I put up a billboard of myself in Toronto. Yeah, so
that's what I think caught your dad's attention too.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. You remember, you did your research. So, for me, it was a strategic approach, because I was 18, and I said, what do I have to lose? I dropped out of college. It was very hard to convince my mom, but she believed in me and she let me drop out. And I started my nightlife company. And through there, that's how I got my music playing in the clubs. And then I started throwing events, and then I started throwing shows. And then I would open up at the show. So I performed in like Tory Lanez, Juice World, you know, a bunch of big names. And it was a strategic approach. But, you know, 2 years down the line, it becomes very tiring. It becomes very draining. You're literally around demons all night, literally demons. You know,
it's a very low energy place, right? It's very low energy. There was a clip, I think, on YouTube that someone was describing, because you know how you have like different energies.
Yeah.
And he was describing how club and the nightlife
Really?
is the lowest of the low. So that's why you always feel very, I don't know how to say. It's a very weird. It's you just feel out of place. Even if you're having a good time, you just feel like something's not right.
Yeah, yeah. But this is why I call myself the soldier of the dark. And we came to the light. Because to know the light, you have to know the dark to appreciate the light. And
that's true.
You know, when people meet me now, it's like, oh yeah, you're so professional. You wear a suit, blah blah blah. It's like I wasn't like this before. I had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations to be able to realize that this is what makes a man. Because my whole teenage years leading up to when I was 21, I would say I was just trying to be a man. Yeah. But I didn't know what a man was. So I thought being a man was women, you know, partying, drugs, you know, being out late night, being a rapper, performing, having clout, being cool. And then I realized that wasn't it. But, you know, I'm glad I went through it because it made me who I am, and it was a fun time.
Yeah, it is, of course. And honestly, every man should start also with the firm belief that he is blessed in one way or another. And I think you came to that realization, and that's what I love about you, is that you really knew that you were blessed, because if you did not realize that you were, you wouldn't have heard that voice that spoke to you when you came here, right? Yeah. Because you would have been too, too blinded by everything else and by like the daily distractions or the daily temptations that come along our way. But I also think that your mother had probably a big role in it, because in Islam, we always believe that mother's prayers are most of the time, and if not all the time. Yeah. So if she has a good son, a loving son, she's always going to pray for him, was going to wish him the best, and that in itself is going to manifest one way or another. And probably she had a lot of role in this. Maybe you don't even know it, but yeah, I mean, how did she react actually when you converted? How was her reaction?
She was happy.
She was happy.
She's like, listen, I'm happy you found God. That's, you know, we grew up in Christianity. We were raised in Christianity, but it was I think it was Anglican, so it's not like Catholic where it's like super strict. Yeah, you know, like
so it's a little bit more.
Like the women, like we have a women preacher at the church, right? Okay, like it's very untraditional. So for us, it wasn't about necessarily being gung ho on it. It was just about following God and doing what's right. You know. So she was very happy. My grandma was very happy. I mean, my cousins and my brother and sister were like, "What the hell?" But you know. Success leaves clues, and when I'm doing well, clearly what I'm doing is working. So nobody really said anything about it.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. And I mean, this weekly thing that you guys do at MMA is very bonding. There's also something very special about men fighting together, right? Mm-hmm. It's a very bonding experience. Yeah. And so if I remember correctly, you tried to do that professionally, or you were attempting to do that professionally, fighting.
No. I was doing, when I was younger, I was fighting like karate and stuff, but I never tried to take it.
Okay, all right, yeah. Okay. So now looking back, you had a very good encounter. I think you met finally with your dad.
Yes.
How was that?
So obviously
it must have been, because I know there was probably a lot of hatred built up.
So when I made money, that's when I finally dropped the hatred, because I pitied him. Yeah. To this day I do, and we're not enemies. It's just the relationship I have with my dad is very different, where I treat him more as a friend versus a father. Yeah. We've had our differences, we've had our fights, but I didn't, at that period he reached out, I didn't see him in a few years. And he was driving Uber downtown, and he saw my billboard, and he emailed me. And then I always had some friends message me saying, hey, I think your dad just picked me up in an Uber, and he's like talking so highly of you, but we never actually like talked. And one day I said, you know what, like, let me meet him. And
How long ago was that?
2021.
So it's just recent.
Yeah, so I invited him over to my penthouse, and obviously it was a very nice penthouse. And I think when he came, like, I was trying to subconsciously prove a point, so I literally had a cigar in my mouth. Like when I went and picked up the door, like I literally picked up the door with a cigar, smoking a cigar in my house to just show him who the boss is. And for me, it was a very gratifying.
I like how he's trying to show your dad who's the boss is.
Yeah. So, and it was a very strange encounter. The first thing he asked me when he walked in is if I sell drugs. I said no. And we talked and we caught up, and I asked him, why'd you leave? And, he blamed it on my mother and all this stuff. And, for me at that point, I realized I couldn't really get what I wanted out of the conversation. So I just let it be. And I had to, forgive him. I'm sure somewhere deep down, I still have resentment. But, I also thank him, because without him leaving and him not being there, I wouldn't be the man I am today. I wouldn't be the provider that I am today. Yeah. So, everything happens for a reason, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that before, and I think you also kind of mentioned it now too, is that every man should have a struggle. A man should struggle. It should not be easy, because what was that saying again? Is that hard times create hard men create good times create soft men create hard times.
Yep.
And then that's
exactly.
Right? So there should always be a good balance between a struggle and also enjoying the passing of time. I wouldn't say having too much fun, because there's no such thing as having too much fun, because a man should always have a little bit of struggle, because that's what keeps him going, right?
Of course.
Like, we are defined by the goals and what we bring to the table, whether literally or not literally, but achieving goals.
Yeah.
For you, one turning point was when you came here and you had that, I would say, revelation. But what was the turning point before you came to Dubai where you're like, all right, I'm going to drop this and focus on business, getting into the business side of things and leaving this entertainment world?
Very, very good question. So, pandemic. The pandemic happened. I was forced out of it.
Right.
But I was already leading out of it before that. And I had an excuse now to just not do it anymore, because I literally couldn't. So I pivoted it into the business stuff and got into medical supply distribution during the pandemic. That's where I made my first $1 million.
You're such a hustler, bro. You've done a lot of things.
Yeah, I actually connected. My first deal was connecting someone on Instagram through a story. It was a club owner and a club client, and they bought 5,000 masks, and I made $1 a mask. So I made $5,000, which was a lot back then. And then the light went off in my head. I said, okay, well, while everyone's playing Fortnite at the time and Call of Duty, why don't I just go all in on this? And this is something I could sell, because people need it and people are scared. Right. When there's fear, people will buy anything to solve that fear, even a mask that doesn't work, because they don't work. So I started selling them, and 1 month later, I made 6 figures in a day, and that's when my life changed. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna drop this music stuff, because the music stuff, and I still love music. I still make music.
No way.
Yeah, but it's a passion to me.
I love hip hop, so I'd love to hear it.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. But for me, music, especially now, reverting to Islam, it's especially rap, not music. Rap is the devil's music.
Yes.
And for me, when I look at, I'm a man that looks at the facts. When I look at the people in the industry that I was in, who's successful, they were all consumed by the devil. Right. They turned gay. You heard all the stuff about Diddy. I used to look up to Diddy. Yeah. I used to call myself the Diddy of the city, and now all the stuff is coming out about. I would have, this is the crazy part. Like, I literally used to, I was looking at my email the other day. I was sending out DJs, Diddy of the city. I used to come, because he did nightlife, he did the music, and he was a businessman. And I look up to him, and now I hear all this stuff. So thank God I didn't go down that route, because I would have probably been at those parties if I had been, Yeah. So for me, I realized, especially now that, so the crazy thing about music is all the music I wrote back then came true. And it was coming true because it was
really. What do you mean?
So when I was broke, I was writing about the life I live now, and I realized that back then I thought I was talking to God, and I thought I was manifesting, right? Because think about it, you write it, you speak it many times in the studio, and you listen to it over and over. It's like affirmations. Right. It's like a spell, whatever you want, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So back then I was like, wow, like my life starting to change very fast, and it was fast for me because my life changed a lot very fast. That's how I got here.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time I thought I was talking to God, but I was actually talking to the devil, and that's why everything was coming to me so fast at such a young age. And until I found Islam, that's when I truly rejected the devil, and that's when I realized I was talking to the devil, because the devil speaks in your voice, and God speaks from the voice far away.
Mm-hmm.
God comes from within, and
That's
with the
so
devil
well
you hear its
said,
voice.
bro. That's so well said. Yeah.
Yeah, so I made the decision and I left. My younger self is definitely like, dude, what? You promised yourself this, but now I'm getting into speaking. Now I'm still talking on a mic. Now I'm still on stage, but it's a different vehicle. And now I'm inspiring people, and now my words and my tongue will have the same impact, just not on a beat. So for me, I went with the flow, and now I'm here, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy for you, bro. This music to my ears, what you're saying, because the other day I realized, because like you, I love hip hop, love rap, but I realized that how distracted and sort of, I'm trying to find the right word, like agitated it made me when I used to hear it, especially at the gym. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try this gym stuff without music for like a week and see how I feel. And instead of instead of music at the gym, I'll just put audiobooks.
Yes, that's what I do.
And bro, fuck, man, like when after like the first day, you actually miss it. Like, this is boring, because I always listen to audibles, right? But not at the gym.
Yeah.
At the gym, you need something to
Yeah.
pump you up, etc. On the second day, the third day, and I'm like, okay, I'm actually I like this. And on the fourth day, on the fifth day, and I'm like, even sometimes, because you're not in the mood to listen to anything, you're like, okay, you know what, I don't even want that. And then you're like, start realizing how at peace you are without this music, because the way that it messes with your frequency, especially in the early mornings, because that's when I go, like at 6 a.m.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, bro, I was doing it wrong all the time. And now when you say like it's just the devil talking to you, it really is, especially that kind of music.
Yeah.
Obviously, like classical music, jazz, probably not the same effect.
No, it's definitely not. Like for me, I barely listen to rap music. I still do here and there.
Yeah,
but
obviously,
I listen to a lot of like house music, or like the alternative like house music, or I listen to classic music.
Right.
Like James Bond type music.
Something that resonates positively.
Yes, and that makes you feel something good. Not like I want to screw with women and get messed up at the club.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. So honestly, I really, I really get that, and I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
But the streets and these places that we've all been to always probably have some sort of lesson. If you had to think a really good lesson that you got from that kind of background and that kind of, what would you say is the number one thing that you really picked up from that you actually still use to this day? Because you can't say it's all negative.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of good. It made you the man that you are today, so you must be proud. But like, what's the one thing that actually stayed with you from then? Have you ever thought about that?
No, I haven't. One of them is definitely the value of networking and learning how to build relationships.
Yes.
The second is learning how to read people. Because coming from the
That's
streets and
yes.
from nightlife,
That's
I know I could read you by looking in your eyes. I could read you by looking at your woman.
Right.
I could read you by how
Body
body language, right? Especially in the streets, I gotta see if you're trying to rob me.
Right.
So I'm able to tell. If you can't look me in the eyes, you're probably gonna rob me, or you're setting me up, something.
Right.
So that, and coming from a dark industry like that, especially the nightlife, I realized that you can't gain fulfillment and self-love from external forces, including money, including success.
Oh, bro, you're dropping dimes. I love that. Yes.
Because we go out and we get messed up, and we think we're with some girls. We think that makes us happy. You go sleep with some girls. You may do whatever. At the end of the day, I realized my whole life I was chasing and respect, but just in the wrong ways.
You're chasing a mirage, basically. Because I got into this discussion the other day with a guy that's like, really hung up on some job or some deal that he wants to sort of get. And I'm like, bro, you cannot associate your wealth with a person or a human being, because at the end of the day, people are always going to disappoint, right? Like, you should have faith in God or whatever other thing you believe in, because if you associate that your wealth or your well-being or something is linked to a guy or a person or an event or a concept or a woman or this and that, you are setting yourself failure. Because once you liberate yourself from that particular feeling that no one owns you and no one can have that leverage over you, you feel free and you feel powerful and you feel untouchable, and people get that energy from you. 100%. Right? Yeah. Because when you allow yourself to feel that someone has that sort of leverage over you, you're always going to walk around with like your
desperation.
Desperation, and your shoulders bent a little bit and you're just not feeling so good about yourself. You can't do that. And so it really amazes me how people just don't understand that concept, and you said it very well.
I think two of the biggest keys to or three of them. One is obviously being able to network, build relationships, because I have no background in the stuff that I do. I don't have any financial background, capital raising, blah, blah, blah. Second key to success that I have is understanding the power of shifting your perspective and the law of detachment. Because for me, I'm not attached to any deal. I'm not attached to any income stream. Mm-hmm. And with the cold heart that I've got, I'm really not attached to any person except for my mother and my grandmother. Mm-hmm. And
your future wife.
And my future wife, yes. And for me, the law of detachment, especially from business and numbers and money and the law of shifting perspectives, I think that's the two biggest keys to success, because on this journey, you're going to have to go through ups and downs. You're going to have to adapt. Mm-hmm. You're going to get I'm sure you're in real estate, you're looking at a deal, you're seeing the numbers on the calculator, you're getting attached to those numbers, something goes wrong, and then the number's not the same at the end, but you still profited, so some people, they're so upset that they didn't make that, let's say $1 million on that flip. Mm-hmm. And let's say you only walked out with $100K. And to them, they're like, oh, I didn't make the $1 million, and they beat themselves up and they get depressed. But then if you shift your perspective, you just made $100K in a couple months, right? So I think perspective. Is your glass half full or half empty? Right, is very key, right? Because life isn't glitz and glamour. Life isn't always sunshine and butterflies. It's going to get bad. It's going to be good. A bad day is coming, and being able to shift your perspective to it's happening for me, not to me, is very key. Mm-hmm. And then learning to detach, especially from money, and not attaching money. And I've even made this mistake. I still do, attaching money to your success, because success is way more than money.
Right.
And I see so many rich men that are poor
because all they have is money.
Exactly.
Right. You are poor because all you have is money, and if all you have is money, you've got really nothing.
Exactly.
Right, because it's about your values, it's about your family, it's about who you're taking care of, it's about just the legacy that you leave behind. Right, that really, really defines a man. And a man that's too attached to money is it's always gonna end up being depressed. That's why I used to be like that when I was younger.
We all did.
Yeah, but no, I don't care anymore. Obviously, I care only to the extent that I can control. Right, but if I know that I've done everything that I possibly can, and didn't go my way, that's it. Accept your fate, move on. Of course. But now let's talk about the Circle Syndicate, because that's one of my favorite things about what you. Let me just check the camera, make sure. Cool. So can you tell us a little bit about the Circle Syndicate and how it operates, and how did you guys set it up?
Yeah, so essentially we're global. So we have about 200 members around the world.
Nice.
You have to be a 7 to 9 figure earner or revenue or net worth and show proof of that. And essentially we host different events around the world. As you saw, we had a desert run with 25-55. So every quarter we host a very, few day mastermind going in depth. We have bi-weekly mastermind calls, and we have cigar lounge meetups, MMA activities for all of our members. So we create a community and a culture, and then we leverage that community to do deal flow. So we have Circle Capital, which is an arm of Circle Syndicate, which is where we do deals. So in the last year since we started, mind you, we have no background in finance. We did about $75 million in deals, which is capital raise for
That's
VC, like private equity, debt, real estate, globally, just from leveraging network. That's why I say, you know, one of my biggest keys to success is shaking the right hands and being in the right rooms and knowing how to present yourself. So we do deal flow. We offer special resources. So, you know, as a 7 to 9 figure entrepreneur, which you are, the biggest problems that rich people have is that they have no friends, they have no circle, they have no access to resources, and they have no access to self-development or community. So we wanted to solve all those problems in a centralized location to make people feel belonging, because we're tribal. We're tribal creatures, right?
Right.
From the dawn of time. So we wanted to create our own tribe, because I always had my own circle. I was always the leader of my group. Even from when I was 12 years old, I started like brands for.
That's okay.
Okay, I started brands for my groups. So the first one I had was like Milla Mafia. This one is called Circle Syndicate. Syndicate is in some ways are seen as an investment group, or some ways seen as like a mafia, like what the mob does, the Italians. So the name was derived from the mafia. You know, for me, growing up, I always wanted to be a gangster, but we have redefined the definition of gangster. You know, before
in a proper way.
Take care of your family, take care of your woman, take care of your business partners, live and die by a set of principles, empower your group, and be able to inspire change. That is the definition of gangster, and that's why the Circle Syndicate was created.
Nice.
You know, and back to the vision and the mission is like I said, to win this war. We can't win it alone. You know, you're great alone. I'm great alone. Ali's great alone. Everyone is great alone, and we've all achieved success, especially getting to the 7-figure. But together, we create greatness, and we become, all of our minds come one, which is called the mastermind. And you know, and Think and Grow Rich, one of my favorite chapters is, you know, the mastermind.
Best book in the world. And so what was the best chapter? What was your favorite chapter?
The mastermind.
The mastermind. Yeah. I remember that because man, that book, I mentioned it so much on my podcast that I should get like paid royalties for it, because that book was such a life changer for me. It was such a life changer for me, the way that he describes and just simplifies everything. It's such a simplified, rich book that has formula, and I love it. I love that book. I probably read it like 3 or 4 times already. But how did you and Ali meet? Because you guys are co-founders, right?
Yes. So I met Ali during the last brand. So what is that, 3 years ago now? And we met so after medical supplies, I started my own online community called the Millionaires Orphanage. And it was 12,000 kids online trading crypto and stocks. So I had met him through my ex-business partner. And after a few Zoom calls, we sold out an NFT collection, and we made $3.3 million in 3 minutes.
Wow.
And in the crypto game, it's very easy to get screwed over because there's no contracts. It's crypto, especially back then. And, you know, Ali and his team, they paid us out what we were owed. And from there, we stayed in touch. And
so who sold who the?
So we partnered on the deal,
okay.
and then we sold it like a bunch of NFTs.
Okay.
Then we sold it out.
Yeah.
So the thing is with us is we both obviously stayed in touch. You know, we made some good money together, and over the years we saw each other, you know, do really great things. You know, we both tried to bring everybody up with us. Nice. We both retired our families before we bought a watch or a car, and we both, you know, had very similar values. So over the years we just stayed in touch, and I think he reached out to me with an idea of starting a TV show. And he's like, yo, I want to start a TV show. I want to put the biggest, baddest entrepreneurs in a house and start $100 million business. And I want you to be in there. And I was like, oh, bro, I'm down. Cool. And then nothing ever happened. We didn't really pursue it. And then we just stayed in touch. And then, you know, last year we started talking before I came to when I was in Dubai, and I came up with the idea, and for some reason I just had another download to call him, and I was like, hey, let's partner. Like, let's just go 50-50 on this. This is my idea. This is the name. I'm starting a WhatsApp group. Add your biggest hitters in there. Everyone that you trust and you've done deals with, I'm going to add them, and let's just see what happens. And then 1 month later, we did our first mastermind in Miami. We had over 120 people show up. It was a 3-day mastermind.
Nice.
We did the MMA. We did the private equity. We did the dinners. And from that weekend, we did over $20 million in deals.
Nice.
So that's when the light went off in our head, and we said, okay, we got something really amazing on our hands. And you know, Ali's the branding genius. He's behind all of the branding, all of the videos that you see online, from my profile to his and the Circle Syndicates. So we combined talents, and he was basically the yin to my yang. Because before I met Ali, I was just a hustler. But a hustler could only hustle.
Right.
He's a builder.
Right.
And when a hustler meets a builder, someone that understands operations, leadership, I didn't understand that. I just knew how to close a deal, make cash. Right. And I was working for my cash. Even if I'd make $1 million.
He's a lot more structured. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And I think because of what he reads, I think he's the only one that probably has a better book collection than me.
Yes. He is the smartest guy.
Yeah.
He's the wisest, you know. Ali, I'm pretty sure in the language means the wisest, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, and you know, in the last year and a half since we've been partners, we've never screamed at each other. We've never had a disagreement. We've never butted heads. Because when you're aligned on a vision with somebody and you're aligned on your principles, there's not much to fight about. And when you're a fair man and there's no ego in your business relationship, we finally found each other, and it was a match made in heaven, because before that we went through horrible partnerships, you know, and when we met, it was perfect. And you know, he's the yin to the yang, and he's the operations, he's the leadership, he's the creative, and I'm just the front facing, go in the room, shake the right hands, and close the deals.
And obviously, like you said, it takes two, right? Because he also probably needs someone like you that has like the good energy that people get, so that when they shake their hands, they know, when they're shaking your hand, they know that, all right, they're taken care of.
Of course.
Right. So that's very interesting. But so how does the business model work at Circle Syndicate? Is it basically you guys structure the deals between X and Y, and then obviously you get a success fee?
So there's 3 arms to the business.
All right.
And 3 revenue streams. So the first revenue stream is memberships.
Yes.
We charge $5,000 a year, and we're about to up it to $10,000 a year. We have memberships and events. That's one, you know, from our mastermind events. The second stream is Circle Capital, where we incubate the deal flow. So when we raise capital, we take anywhere from 5 to 10% of that capital and or equity. And then the third business is consulting. So we'll so if we like you, we'll raise the capital for you. We'll consult you, because we've done over 9 figures between me and Ali, between our sales and direct consumer sales, info products, all of those stuff. So we'll consult, we'll take a piece of the business, we'll raise the capital for the business, and we'll put you into the syndicate. So it's kind of like everything we build is vertical. So we only build vertically. Those are our 3 revenue streams. And we believe that this is something we can do for the next 25 years of our life, because there's nothing better than getting entrepreneurs that are good men the capital that they need.
Of course.
There's nothing better than consulting and helping those businesses grow. And there's nothing better than getting rich off of helping people and getting rich off of, you know, deal flow, putting deals together, which is my thing. Before this, I was a deal maker, whether any industry.
Winning together.
Exactly. And before this, I was a deal maker. So now I get to do what I love. I love making deals. You know, one day I'll be selling coffee in Colombia. Another day I'll be raising $10 million for a company in Dubai, right? So I get to do it all under one house, which is amazing. So, because my issue before is I was running around doing so many different things and building 5 businesses at once. And you know how that goes. They all fail. Yeah. So now we finally get to pour our efforts into one business and be able to, you know, plant our seeds in 3 different strategies and 3 different revenue streams.
Amazing. I love that. And so basically right now you guys have raised 72 million. 75. Amazing. And what's your projection for you? Do you guys like have a goal in mind?
We're looking at over 250.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And what do you think was the secret sauce or the one edge that you guys have over everybody else that's trying to do the same thing that made you grow? Because trust me, listen, I've been in the business long enough to tell you that what you guys have done is really, really remarkable.
Thank
and
you,
I
brother.
highly, highly applaud you for that, because raising that kind of money in what, year and a half?
Yeah.
Bro, people must have so much trust and faith in you to be able to put that kind of money, especially for men that don't have financial background. Whether
For
it's
sure.
you guys are great men. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, you're not financial people,
Yep.
right? So, what was it like? There must be some secret ingredient that you guys have.
Aura.
Yeah.
Aura and quality people,
Mm.
quality deal flow, and quality investors. You know, like I said, we only have 200 members. There's other groups that have 10,000 people. You know, and we kick people out very easily, even if you pay. Like if you're not active, if you do something and don't stay true to your word, and we see proof of that, we kick you. You know, we don't care about how you feel if you paid, because when you join, you have to basically take an oath to our 4 embodying principles, and if you don't live by them, you're kicked out.
So that's really good, because that keeps people in check, right?
Of course.
Because you also have, I mean, if it's a brotherhood, everybody has to put in the work. Otherwise, it's not a brotherhood anymore. It's just people leeching off others that are working, and then it doesn't become. But the circle focused on specific verticals, like in terms of raising capital or investing or etc., or it's just pretty much open for anything?
Everything. We've done blockchain. We've done real estate. We've done private equity. We're working on raising capital for our IPO right now in Q1. We're working on a sports acquisition for a very big NBA team. We're working on a tech raise, commodities, literally every single thing that we can connect to, we will do if it's within our network.
Nice, amazing, love that. And you said something that caught my attention, and I'm gonna ask you something about that. You're like, if we like you, we will help you, we will invest with you, we'll guide you, and we'll take, which is only. How do you decide that this is a guy that I trust and I actually like him and I want to invest in? Well, what do you look for in a man or in an entrepreneur that's really trying to?
I look at how they treat their woman if they have one, how they treat their parents, their family. Is their family retired? I look at their background. Not that I judge people on their background, but it gives you a good understanding of who someone is.
Yeah.
And obviously, when I meet them in person, I take a look at them, and I judge from the interaction, the way they speak, the way they carry themselves, and for us, like I said, we're just very selectful about who we choose, and you could tell a good person when you meet them. Yes. Especially after getting screwed over so many times. Yes. So we're pretty good at being able to read people. Yes, we've been screwed over a lot. So now.
You learned your lesson. Yeah. You probably had very expensive lessons too.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna stop you on that. Why did you say how they treat their women or their mothers or parents?
Well,
I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I just want you to. I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
So for me, I always thought it was like, if you're gonna cheat on your wife or treat your wife like crap, or if your house isn't in order, if your kids don't look up to you, if your wife doesn't look up to you, if you treat your wife like shit, if you cheat on her all the time, what will you do to me? Right. If the woman that you share your literal your bed, your soul, your house, everything with, if you would treat her like that, how would you treat me? So I think it's a big tell. And don't get me wrong, there's the argument that high value man, you're rich, you can do whatever you want, and to a certain extent, yeah, to each his own. But for me, it's just like, if that's your the love of your life, the mother of your children, how can you do that to her? And then I'm just your business partner that we make money together. I'm not going to trust. And then for your parents, it also shows me your values. So, unless it's a rare situation where you didn't have both parents, you're an orphan or something like that. If you were like a typical person with one or two parents and they gave you a good life, which is a lot of people, especially in the West, and you're making millions of dollars and you're traveling the world and you're flying girls out before you fly your mom out, you're paying the government taxes before you pay your mom taxes, For me, I don't pay taxes. And the beautiful thing about Canada is that it's not like you can't go to jail for it. So for me, instead of all the taxes that I'm supposed to pay, I just pay my mother. Right. And so I judge people on how they treat their parents if their family's still working, because you're not a man if your family's still slaving by necessity, not choice. Because some people want to work, or not everybody wants to be retired.
Right.
You know, so as long as you try to do that and you take care of your family, take care of your loved ones, it shows a lot of your character.
Yeah, I love that, bro, and that's absolutely the right way to look at things. We have a saying in Arabic. It's like ما في خير لأهله ما في خير لحدا. So basically, if you're not good, if you don't show good deeds to your parents or to your family, you're not gonna show good deeds to anyone, because they're your first line of blood. Basically, they're your first degree of blood. So
Yeah.
imagine, like your mom that took care of you and like raised you. But the problem is that what I really feel bad about is the men that I feel like are stuck. They're struggling. Like they're trying to take care of this and that, but they're really stuck in this vicious cycle, and they just can't get out of it. And that's why I actually wanted to ask you is like, what advice or how would you guide a man that's just can't seem to get out of this, 9 to 5 or whatever it is, like the paycheck to paycheck sort of lifestyle? What would you do if you were in that man's shoes?
Well, what I did is I just thought outside the box, and some people, they just don't have it. So for everybody, entrepreneurship isn't this beautiful journey that people think it is. It takes years and years of dedication, of losing money. Losing money to me is a regular thing. I lose money in investments. I take risks. You have to be a risk taker. To the average man that's trying to get out of 9 to 5, if you don't have it in you to become an entrepreneur and a business owner and take the risk on and be the number one man, and I think the best thing that you could do, the second level to that, is to be the second level man. So there's an entrepreneur and there's an intrapreneur. An entrepreneur is the guy who's number one, who works on the business, takes the hit, gets sued, has all the enemies, goes through the ups and downs. Mm-hmm. The intrapreneur is the guy beside the entrepreneur that works on the business, in the business, gets his paycheck, gets his bonus, and doesn't have to take on the risk. Mm-hmm. So you could be either one of those two, and that is very possible for any man.
For any normal man. Yeah.
Any normal man. And the second thing I would advise is to get into sales. I think that is the only way to get out of poverty. That's a normal job. The only way, because that doesn't put a ceiling on your head when it comes to what you can earn. And then you get into the mindset of, I can earn more. Then your horizon starts to rise, and you could see yourself making more if you do more, and you could quantify your goals by a set amount of action. And when it comes to success, it's all action output. And if that action output isn't yielding the results that you want, you need to shift the action into something that will. So you need the vehicle. Hard workers, if all hard workers were rich, then, all of our parents would be rich and our grandparents. But in a lot of the scenarios, it's not. So smart work is, but you do need hard work to a certain extent, which is what I would advise with sales. Because if I want to make $10,000, and let's say I start selling cars. Cars is a great one because you're selling high ticket. Anything high ticket is an amazing way to make good money.
Yes.
If I'm selling cars and I make, let's say, $500 a car, I'm selling, Civics, Honda Civics, whatever. Let's say I want to make $10,000. I know to make one sale, I need to make X amount of calls and X amount of outreach. So for me to make that $500. So how many calls do I need to make and quantify that to be able to hit my goals? And that is the only way you could get out, or get lucky with crypto. And, but I wouldn't advise that because that doesn't build any character. You're not going to learn any life skills.
Right.
And a lot of guys are, and it's a big problem, especially now that Bitcoin is hit 90,000. There's kids that are making $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 million in days, and they never did anything to truly deserve that. They just got lucky. And kudos to you. God bless you. I hope you do what's right with that money. I hope you take care of your family. I hope you make it last. But 90% of them will lose it because they didn't learn anything on the way there. So, a lot of people are looking into crypto, and yes, you could actually make it out with crypto. I've seen it. But I think the more noble and realistic thing to do is do something that's in your control. And I think it's either sales, entrepreneur, or intrapreneur.
Amazing. I love that answer. Very, very, probably one of the best answers I've heard, if not the best answer in a very long time. I love that. But going back to your business, you as Kane, what is your favorite line of business that you like investing in? Because I'm sure you have your preferences. Like when things get pitched to you, be like, yeah, I like that. That's right.
So for me as an investor, I like crypto.
Come on, bro. You're talking to a real estate guy. No.
I know. Listen, brother, I did real estate
No,
too.
man. No,
Dude,
no. Bro,
dude.
if it's not tangible,
Okay, wait. Do you hold crypto?
no, I don't
Oh
actually.
my god. Okay, we need to
I
talk
don't.
after this. I need to.
We need to
Dude.
talk. Listen, I'll make you fall in love with real estate
Oh,
all
buddy,
over
I
again.
am, dude. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
There you
That
go.
book changed my life.
There you go.
That's why I got into Airbnb.
Yeah.
And for me, I understand the value of real estate.
No, but not just the vibe, because I'm more on the development side, so developing from scratch.
Oh, so
And
you're making the real money, yeah.
yeah, the real money, like that's where you make your double digit net profit.
Yes,
double
yes.
digits.
So this is the thing: when you kill the ego and you detach from what you think is tangible, not tangible, and you just look at numbers,
Yeah.
crypto's the better option every single time. Numbers.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not-
I want you to simplify and tell me why. Why?
Okay.
Is it because
How long does it take you to do a development?
minimum 1 year,
Okay.
just to build?
Okay. And how much % ROI does it make you?
Developing from scratch, you could easily make let's say worst case scenario 30%, 35%, 40%.
So theoretically, it's a little safer because you bought land, you have
Yeah.
land,
Yeah.
and you're building a home. So
Yeah.
it's the tangible.
Yeah.
So in crypto,
And it's properly
Yeah.
leveraged, right? Like
Sure.
even if you lose money, you probably end up breaking even.
sure, but it's relatively illiquid until it's built.
Uh,
Relatively.
Relative. You could still
You could
but
sell the
yeah,
land,
yeah.
but it's relatively
yeah,
illiquid.
yeah.
Okay,
It's a lot harder to move.
sure,
It's a lot of hard. Yes.
sure. And then if you wanted to liquidate, you would have to find a buyer for that, right?
Yeah.
Which could be hard.
Yes, and because he has to have very good financial standing,
So in crypto,
because it's a very high. It's the biggest asset class.
now in crypto, I can make hundreds of % in a year. I could sell it at any time as long as it's depending on which coin, obviously.
Right.
You know, if it's a meme coin, you can't sell it a lot of the time. But let's say Bitcoin, in the last year, it's up like 110%,
Right.
right? In the last 5 years, if you look at the numbers, it's hundreds of %, and it's liquid. I can move it. I don't need to ask anybody. I don't need to find a buyer because the liquidity is there. It just passed, Bitcoin just surpassed the market cap of silver yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, as an investor, yes, it's digital. Yes, theoretically, if there's an EMP and the whole internet went out, I mean, we're all dead by then if that happens. So for me, and then on top of that, the government can take your real estate
I mean, if you default.
if you
Or if
default,
they don't
or
like
if you're
it,
a
or
bad
if
guy, especially in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
So there's the pros and cons to both. But as an investor, as a guy who's 25 years old, I will make way more money investing in crypto over the next 15 years than real estate. But doesn't mean I can't make money in real estate. Doesn't mean I won't do real
Yeah.
estate. I believe in diversification.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe you should be investing in crypto because if you just look at the simple numbers, right now I think it just hit $3 trillion market cap, all of crypto, I believe. 3 trillion. You know, BlackRock manages tens of trillion. The adoption rate for crypto is under 10% globally.
Mm-hmm.
And how much of the world doesn't have access to a bank or Wi-Fi? You know, Africa, some places in South America. Like over 50% of the world doesn't have access to banking,
Yeah.
right? So crypto solves that. And when you look at the adoption rate, the market cap, and the future, now that Trump just won, and ETFs, Bitcoin ETF is a thing, Ethereum ETF is a thing, and it's becoming normalized and centralized. Imagine what the price of Bitcoin will be. It just hit 90K. Imagine the price of Bitcoin when 50% of the world is in, and it's $100 trillion market. If at $3 trillion, it's at $90,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Imagine it at 100 trillion.
No, I mean,
Right.
I've heard that. Like, I have a friend that was big on crypto, and he tells me it's gonna reach millions.
Yeah, because I'm not speaking for all crypto. I'm just speaking for the main two, like Ethereum and Bitcoin, but mostly Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is decentralized for the most part. It's been proven, it's been tested, it's been tried. So nobody could freeze it. So like USDT, let's say I obtain USDT, which is a crypto coin equivalent to the US dollar.
Yeah.
Let's say I obtain it in a shady way. The Tether, which is the company, could freeze my asset and take it from me. Or freeze it and make sure I can never use it.
Yeah.
They can't take it, but they can make sure it doesn't send anywhere or whatever. But Bitcoin doesn't allow that. That's why the people that are against crypto say it's for like scammers and stuff and blah, blah, blah. Another thing is the decentralization aspect of it is amazing, especially in the West. It's a big problem. In Canada, during the pandemic, the truckers, the people that donated crypto to the trucker organization got listed as terrorists, and they froze people's bank accounts. They took people's money, the government, because they donated to the truckers. Remember the protest?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Canadian government was freezing people's bank accounts. Mothers who had children that donated on GoFundMe.com to the truckers as a terrorist organization. So decentralization is the future. If I could send you $100 million right now with nobody asking me a question, can you send me $100 million right now from your bank account?
Bro, I can't even send you 50,000 dirhams without having a freaking bank calling me. It's like, where'd you get this money from?
Exactly. You just answered my question. So as an investor, crypto's better in most aspects. For example, I have a crypto group for me and my guys. We hit a 10,000x in a week on one play. So imagine $1,000 times 10,000. So only that is possible in crypto. This is the digital gold rush.
But bro, I really am. I consider myself a very open-minded person, and I'm really willing to like also look at all those things and understand where you're coming from. But there are so many freaking coins out there. Like that's the problem. Like, and a lot of people lost.
And there's so many properties out there.
Yeah, but with properties, like you've got stability. They're there, but like with coins, you've got the really shit ones that.
Yeah, that's the ones I play with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. So how like
diversification?
Yeah,
it's all about. I mean, you're an investor. You understand diversity.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll go for single family. Sometimes you'll build a residential building. Sometimes you'll do a commercial.
Right.
Diversification. Sometimes I'll buy Bitcoin. Sometimes I'll buy Ethereum. Sometimes I'll buy a coin at a 10K market cap. Hits 100K. I just did 10X. Right. The crypto market is as amazing as it is and as rich as it can make you. It can also make you very poor if you have a gambling addiction, a gambling personality. But I think that it is the most, like people talk about revolution. It is the biggest transfer of wealth in history that's happening right now through crypto.
100%.
Because kids, bro, 18, 19 making millions of dollars. That's not possible in our day and age unless you like met El Chapo or Pablo Escobar or something, did something stupid, right? So it is a revolution that's happening, and if you don't get into crypto, I think you're gonna hurt yourself in the long run. And then when you have kids, your kids, you're gonna have to tell them that grandpa didn't buy Bitcoin and Bitcoin will be $1 million by then. Imagine, right? So and I'm not telling everyone like invest your whole life in crypto, but at least 10% of your net worth should be in crypto. Even if you just hold it and chill. If you look at the growth of Bitcoin as an asset class, the numbers don't lie. So as an investor, I believe that crypto is better. But as an investor, I think that you need to be in both. So I have a funnel that I created for investment. So imagine a pyramid. At the top of the pyramid is high risk, crypto, shit coins. I call them shit coins. And it's very high risk stuff that I put my money in. I can make a 5, 10x, right? And then a lot of people stay in that top bracket and they lose it all, give it back to the market. I believe that there's 3 levels. So the second level is investing in the business, investing into yourself, investing into private equity, investing into Airbnb arbitrage.
Existing that's up and running.
Yes. And then at the very bottom, which is the biggest part of the pyramid, is the most stable stuff. Gold, silver, real estate, stocks, bonds. Yeah. So if you follow that, you will be able to retain your wealth over 10, 15, 20 years because you're funneling your wealth to safer and safer plays that make different types of revenue streams for you and passive income.
That's amazing. I mean, I'll definitely take a look at it because crypto is also, especially in Dubai, it's really attracting a lot of people all around the world. Bro, it's unreal. Like, I mean, I just even in this place here, what's this guy? The guy that's all crypto boys are obsessed with him. Balaji? Yeah, Balaji. He's a very famous Indian American speaker / author / thinker. Has I think like 1 point something million followers on Twitter, on X, and like all the crypto boys, all the crypto people go and swear by his name because of how knowledgeable and insightful he is and smart. And he was here. He was in this compound with all the Solana people they were renting.
Yeah. Listen, imagine the builders in Dubai that accepted crypto last year.
Yeah.
And imagine if they didn't swap it over to Tether and they had it in Bitcoin. They would have made 100% more on their crypto if they held Bitcoin.
Yeah. And I mean, we saw what Nayib Bukele is doing in
El Salvador. Yeah, I was there this
El
year.
Salvador,
Yeah.
and like the guy transformed the shittiest country in the world into something
Well,
super
now they're the
safe.
richest in all of South America, and they're the richest now
They're
because
the
they bought
richest.
Bitcoin. They bought Bitcoin every single day
Yeah,
for the last year.
yeah, yeah.
Billions of dollars. You can see their treasury online on the blockchain.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm surprised this guy is not even dead right now because
Yeah,
he's
they tried. They tried.
he's really going against the status quo, right? Like
Yeah.
he's going against everything that centralized government, central banks stand for,
Well,
and
and now Trump's in power, baby. So now it's going to be the best 4 years in the next 4 years, I believe.
yeah, definitely. And after going through so many deals and after meeting so many people, do you think you developed a good intuition, a gut feeling of when a business or when a deal is actually really gonna be a good one or not?
Yeah. Proof of revenue, proof of concept.
Yeah.
So do they have users? Do they have clients?
Mm-hmm.
And is the founder, judging by the founder's financial situation, a lot of the times you could tell what they'll do with that money. For me, I have more confidence in a founder that has money that doesn't have money. Because if they have money, they're not in desperation mode. They don't need to put food on the table. They could afford to build this company and only focus on building this company. Then survival. And then the proof of concept is very clear. It's like, is the market showing that it likes your product or service? And revenue, right? And by revenue, we can make a judgment. If it's just an idea, I have ideas every day.
But what if it's a startup? How do you know, like, yeah, this, I got a good feeling about this.
By those, and if it's a startup without revenue, I don't touch it, really.
Really? Okay.
As an investor and as a guy that's procuring investments for investors, imagine I come to you and I say, well, it's me, so you take it seriously. But imagine somebody walks up to you and says, hey, I have this idea. I want to build this tower. Can you go raise me $10 million for it? But I'm broke and I've never built a home before. Would you take that seriously?
No.
Exactly.
Not.
So startups, 99% of them fail. And for me, those numbers are not attractive.
Yeah.
I'd rather invest in something that has at least a 50% chance of survival.
Yeah, it's true. You don't really have to either, right? Like, investing in startups is just so risky, and there are people for that, right? So you just leave that for the people that are specialized in that. Even though you can make 1,000x, but like
I'd rather invest in a crypto coin.
I was just about to say that you're probably gonna go after with some shit coin and be like, "Come here, baby.
Yeah,
we're gonna make 1,000x right now on the spot."
Dude, it's magical.
I need to spend like a day with you, and maybe
Hell yeah,
maybe you could like brainwash me into this. But I don't know. Actually, you know what? I thought of something the other day, was a few months ago. I never really followed up on the idea because I'm just too busy doing what I'm doing already. But I was telling a friend, and I'm like, bro, how about we tokenize real estate? But then the more I looked into it, the more I realized
it's already happening.
Yeah, it's happening. There are already a few companies doing it, but not in Dubai officially doing real estate.
With the government or something?
Yeah, exactly. Not yet. They're doing it in a different way. There's a guy called Robert Ubach. He's doing something like that. It's called. It's some sort of tokenized real estate, and they have their own coin and their own token. But yeah, something like that would require also a lot of coordination with the government, right? Because fractional ownership and changing ownership on the blockchain, etc., is something that also has to be coordinated with them, right? Because if you take a unit and you split it into, I don't know, what, say 1,000 subunits, right? And everybody owns a fraction. Okay. So who's keeping tabs on who's right? All right, obviously it's on the blockchain, but it should also reflect with the authorities.
The way you would do that is through an SPV.
Yeah.
And then you would own it, and then through that you would issue the shares for that SPV for that property.
Yes.
That's what I've heard people doing here and in other countries. Or you just go straight to the government and say, hey, let's build a platform for this.
Exactly. But then if you build a platform, then you pretty much built an exchange. So
yeah. And if you get the government on your back, it's $1 billion idea. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I know that that's coming in the way, but they probably also, I think personally, especially probably here, they just don't want to disrupt such a lucrative market this fast, this quick,
I agree. Maybe
this abruptly. You know, a lot of people are making a lot of money from the traditional way, so I think they're just keeping it like this for now until, let's say, the market forces itself, right?
Exactly.
The market is going to force itself at one point or another, and then they're going to be like, okay, now it's just the same way crypto forced itself.
Yep.
And Bitcoin forced itself. I still laugh about the guy that bought pizza for for how many 100 Bitcoins? He could have been a trillionaire right now, probably.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
That's so funny. But what, from Kane's perspective, what do you think separates great investment from a good investment? Like, when you guys put in the money, what's in common from all the great investments that you've done, the ones that really, like, all right, yeah, that was
scalability. And scalability.
Yeah.
Is this business scalable? Can we have a million clients or 1,000 clients? You know, and can we do that?
Because it's a numbers game at the end.
You know, one of my mentors, he taught me that, you know, you could invest in a brick and mortar and do okay, but like when you're really looking for the big home runs, you want to try and become a giant. So you got to look at the market share, you got to look at the scalability, you got to look at the product or the service that it's offering and see if that product could survive a stress test in that market of scaling.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yeah, very well said. Yes, because that's true. If you can't scale, you're just, that's it. That's a glass ceiling, right? And
exactly.
It doesn't become attractive for investors anymore. But where do you, right now, with all these deals that you guys are making, where do you see future trend in market opportunities, specifically in Dubai or maybe even internationally? Where do you see the future going now?
In terms of investment?
Yeah. Or let's say growing businesses or industries that are just...
tech and AI.
Yeah?
Yeah, right now it's blowing up. You know, when you look at AI as an industry and the problems that AI could solve, it gets really scary really quickly. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think in the next 25 years or even 10, you know, there's going to be... So right now we have three classes, the lower class, the middle class, and the higher class, right? Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be a new class of people called the useless, because the people that are cleaning your dishes, the people that are at the cashier, the people that are at the airport walking around, they're all going to, the people on the phones, they're all going to be replaced in the next 10 years with the new AI that's coming out. As bad as it is, as an investor, I'm going to invest in that. As an investor, I'm going to look at what's going to revolutionize the space, what's going to change the world. And, you know, OpenAI is a perfect, you know, we even implement AI in our business. And, you know, Ali's like I call Ali AI because it has A and an I in his name, because he built a GPT for the Circle Syndicate that knows me, that knows him, that knows what we say, how we speak, what we do, all of our invoices, all of our contracts. So I could ask it anything and it will reply with the perfect thing. So it does all our emails, contracts, business plans, proposals, every single thing. 90% of this stuff now is done through ChatGPT for us. Mm-hmm. And that's just like rookies trying it. I can't imagine the future use cases. I was even talking to a company last year. They have virtual sales reps that'll take my voice and cold call 1,000 people a day. Yeah. So
you could do that even. I think it's called HeyGen. You could even do it with your face
on calls and stuff. So, right. So I think the biggest trend is going to be AI and tech.
What would you say tech? Any specific tech or just?
Yeah, I mean, tech is very scalable, right? So it's an app, it's a tech, it's a SaaS, so I could scale this to millions of people versus anything else, right? Mm-hmm. And they have the highest EBITDAs, they have the highest multipliers on the valuations of the companies. So it's very easy to go into a company at a $10 million valuation, prop up the revenue, 2-3x the revenue in a year, and sell it for 10, 20, 30x what you bought it for. Yeah. And then go IPO, go public. And that's something that we're digging our feet into now, because I do it all the time in crypto, but now let's try it on the stock market. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And what would you say is the best company that you guys raised for so far? Or your favorite? You don't have to say the name. You could just talk a little bit about it, because I'm just curious. I'm trying to really pick your brain here.
One of them is a pharmaceutical company that solves weight loss through an oral pill, and it's like Ozempic but healthier, and they have all the patents for it. And
Yeah, because every time someone tells me I just want to smash their head.
yeah. So this one's like a healthier version, doesn't affect you. And they have all the patents.
So what
for
is
it.
it, like natural substances, like natural like natural ingredients?
Yeah. And we're getting in at a $16 million valuation, 1.6, and sorry, 160, and they just got evaluated at 400.
Wow.
So that's an automatic 3x. And when they IPO in Q1, it's going to be over $1 billion. That's a shitcoin gain for you on the stock market. Those are the type of deals we're trying to get into. So I guess pharmaceuticals is a big one too. I mean, it's a big industry.
I mean, if you have the right product.
Yes, of course.
Right, because we all know pharmaceuticals, it's like binary, it's 1 or 0. It's one wrong combination, one wrong case study, one wrong usage, and you're done. You know, you either got a tort case on your back or just very bad publicity that you probably will never be able to recover from. So, like you said, it's very good if it works.
Yes,
if it
of course.
doesn't work, you're
course.
screwed. But on the flip side, what's the worst company that you guys invested? One that you're like, oh, I should have never done that deal. I'm sure you have. Come on.
I think one of them was an app for nightlife. It was one of our first ones, and basically, we lost a lot of money on it. Let's just cut it there.
Just not talk too much about it.
Yeah.
But did you actually have a gut feeling that maybe might
Yeah,
not?
I was just new to the game. I'm still new.
Yeah.
But I can tell you about a lot of crypto losses that I made. but yeah, good deals come and go, but you learn as you go, and you learn to smell them out, especially with the right mentor.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate your honesty. At least that's pretty good. But really, the way that I see it is that you guys have created this at such a good time. It's such a perfect time, because the way I see the world right now is that the wealth is becoming more and more and more secluded in the hands of fewer people and fewer institutions. If you look at the wealth distribution from the 50s until now, you'll notice that a lot of it is concentrated in the hands of a few. I mean, just to name some, like BlackRock, Vanguard, etc. And if people, specifically men, are not in the right brotherhoods and not in the right circle of friends that are sticking together to counter this, let's say, disproportionate distribution of wealth, they're just going to be left on their own, and it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to make it. And as you and I always say, no man has ever made it alone, and you really need to have a mastermind group to be able to think together, work together, achieve together. So I'm honestly very proud of what you guys are doing, what Ali's doing with the Circuit Syndicate, because there should be more of this, right?
Agreed.
Because if men don't have access to that, then it just makes their things so much harder for them. If they don't have access, sort of, and they don't even, like, from what I like about you guys is they don't even have to be, like, they have to be members. They have to be 7 or 9 figure guys. They could still come with an idea or with a business model that they could show you. And from what I understand, you guys can also raise capital, right?
So before yes, now no.
Yeah.
So we just turned our model to we only work within Syndicate.
Yeah.
Because think about how many people reach out to me every day. Hey, I have this deal. Hey, I have this deal. Well, the best qualification is joining the Syndicate, because now I know that you're committed to this vision. I know that you're qualified because you showed me a proof of your revenue. I saw into your financials, or I saw that you at least have money. And now you have access to my network, so I know you'll succeed no matter what if you take the resources properly. So before I used to be like that, but now us doing well here in Dubai, everybody's reaching out to us trying to do a deal. And now we have a model where you have to join us if you want to do a deal.
Yeah, that's good. So it's an automatic filtration.
Yeah, and we waste a lot of time with people. Like, if it costs you nothing to submit a deal to me, I could give you 5 hours of my time and then nothing will happen. If you pay $5,000 to join the Syndicate, not only you're getting a lot of benefits, I'm getting something up front, and I know that you're serious.
Yeah.
And I know that you have money.
Yeah.
Because why would I want to invest in you if you don't have money? right? Because then what if you just, I understand, and I understand survival. You got to do what you got to do. If you got to take that money and steal it from me and to feed your family, that's my fault.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why investing is very, 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 very tricky. And that's why good qualification, especially now where we are, is working with members.
Yeah. And with everything that you've done so far, what sort of legacy would you like to leave behind? Like with when all is said and done?
I would like my bloodline to remember me as a Rockefeller. You know, they look up to their great grandpa and see what he built. For me, you know, I want my legacy to be my children. Inshallah, they'll be very, very good children. I want it to be my impact, my brand. You know, the Circle Syndicate. I want it to be something that lasts a very long time, that does billions of dollars in revenue, deal flow, and donations. You know, I want it to be a foundation, and I want to inspire people to be great, because I think right now men especially need it more than ever. You know, role models. A lot of guys that were like me that didn't have a father figure or didn't have the right father figure, right? I think the power of social media and the age that we're in, the technological age that we're in, there is an immense opportunity and market to inspire greatness or to inspire destruction. I think a lot of people, without knowing it, are inspiring destruction right now through social media. So I want to be a force for good in this world and be able to inspire my people and take care of my community and take care of my family and be you know, my legacy be that.
I love that answer. I love that answer, and that's just a very very noble thing to leave behind. And if you had, because I know you and Ali are big readers, right? So if you had to 3 or 5 books that you feel every man should read or should at least start with, what would you say?
Obviously, Think and Grow Rich.
Without a doubt, number 1.
Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. That one is the one that not a lot of people say. The 48 Laws of Power.
Shit, all my books.
Yeah.
I actually didn't read the Grant Cardone yet, but
it's really good.
I just finished the 48 Laws of Power.
And
that was a long ass book.
I'm blanking right now. I think those are the 4 that I would read, that I'd recommend. It's very good. I think Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural is really good as well.
Yeah, and all Joe's are pretty good. That's amazing, man, and I love what. But obviously, we all owe it to you. Owe it to your mom, the superhero. So if you had, and I'm sure she's gonna be watching this, so looking into the camera, what message would you give your mom?
Mama, everything's gonna be okay, and we good, and everything's gonna be right, and I'm gonna make you very, very proud.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. That was a good podcast.
My man. Thank you so much for having me, brother.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That was refreshing, bro.
That
was refreshing.
My man.
It's hard to find people that I vibe with on such a high level.
100%, bro. It's
right?
all energy.
Because I mean, all the guests are great, right? But some are just like, you just vibe a lot more because, you know, they resonate on the same frequencies, etc. And that's how I felt right now. So
my man.
good.
Thank you so much for having me, bro.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.